I began excavating the ruins of Kandahar with a group of my colleagues.
Talk to me. So for today's video, I am heading down to Orlando for Fanboy Expo 2023. I believe this has been going on for a while. They have different locations around the country they hold this con at, but this is my first time going to one. It was held in Orlando at, I forget exactly which hotel it was. I want to say it was the Hyatt on iDrive. It's the one that Spooky Empire has used multiple times, so I am very familiar with that convention. It was actually the hotel we were at for the first convention that I was vending at, so I spent a lot of time roaming those halls. And I am filming this video after the fact. The con was this last weekend, as of recording this, but since I am just publishing another vlog today, this one may take about a week to go up or so, I don't know. But I went on September 3rd. And after getting out of the convention, I filmed a video in my truck talking about my experience, and I'm going to include bits and pieces of that within this video still, but I felt like I needed to go back and talk about it with a little bit of retrospect on it and having kind of calmed down from my initial emotions about the convention, because I was pretty upset when I left. So I'm coming out of Fanboy Expo Orlando, and yeah, I have to say it was a disappointing experience overall. But in that original video, one of the things I hold against the convention, which in retrospect is completely unfair, is that it was a pretty dead convention. There weren't a lot of people, there wasn't a lot of cosplay. I wasn't thinking that this is Dragon Con weekend. And, you know, being in Orlando, it's reasonable that a lot of people would go to Dragon Con. If I didn't have so much other stuff going on, I probably would have been one of them. So it's hard to hold against the convention that they were a little underpopulated when a huge competitor is holding their event at the same time. And honestly, I went to this convention with the intent of meeting just one guest, which was Warwick Davis, who is best known for being in many Star Wars movies, originating with Return of the Jedi. He was in Willow. He was in the Harry Potter movies, playing like 50 different characters. He was the Leprechaun. Probably the most on-brand for this channel thing I could mention. So my weekend leading up to this was kind of crazy. My typical routine is to go down to Daytona to the Artists Crypt on Saturdays to get some work done there, and this weekend was no different. Then went and hung out with friends down there, and thankfully I was able to crash down there for the night because we didn't get back until like 5 a.m. So once I woke up the next day and got going, it was a little on the later side. I didn't get down to the convention until I think about 12:30, which the convention opens at 11 but it also closes at 5, so I wasn't there as early as I could have been, but I also wasn't there as late as I could have been, I guess. I had a bit of confusion getting my ticket. I bought both my ticket to get into the convention as well as 2 autograph passes online in advance of the con. Buying autograph tickets is not something I'm used to. It's not something I've done at other conventions before. So I went up to the guest services booth and had them scan my QR code. I only got one QR code in my email. I had them scan that, and they gave me my wristband. I wasn't really paying attention to what the other sections of this desk were. I kind of just assumed I'd be able to use the QR code at the autograph booth because they hadn't said anything to me when getting my wristband. So I went in, looked around, figured out where Warwick's booth was, and there wasn't much of a line, but there were a few people in line. He was not there yet, so I got in the line and waited. I don't know exactly how long I was in that line. It was a fair bit of time before he actually showed up for the day. And as I was waiting to get up to the front of the line, I started wondering if I was supposed to get some kind of pass to actually be able to get the autograph. And I asked one of the attendants when I was up towards the front of the line. They're like, yeah, you were supposed to go get those. So I went back to the customer service booth. There was another booth off to the side, or another section off to the side, that had fan package pickup written on the sign in large letters, but under it, it had information about like pre-purchase autographs. I just didn't see it from across the room when I was there the first time. So I was able to go up there, scan it, got the passes, which kind of makes me laugh because the guy at the booth was like, oh yeah, I was about to close up shop here. I'm like, well, what the fuck was I gonna do if you closed up shop when I'd already paid for an autograph ticket? But whatever. Went back to Warwick's booth. Thankfully, the attendant there had told me I could go back into basically the VIP line since I already had waited in line and just had a miscommunication. So he let me go back in pretty quickly. And I I brought 2 items to get signed. One was my friend Colin's Doppelganger's book from Alex Pardee. My last vlog I talked about the new version, but this was the original version. Has a leprechaun picture in it. He wanted that signed. And then I brought a custom-made 8x10 from the movie Skinned Deep. Skinned Deep is probably something you don't see much with Warwick. It is directed by, I believe, the makeup effects artist from several of the Leprechaun movies. Came out, I believe, early 2000s. I found it at a like $5 bin at Blockbuster. And it is such a great, terrible movie. Like, it's kind of Texas Chainsaw meets Hills Have Eyes-esque, but like some of the acting's really bad. Some of the stuff is just really goofy. Warwick in it plays a character that basically kills people by throwing plates at them, and his name is Plates. And when I saw the movie years ago and started going, I think I saw it pre-conventions, but I was like, if I ever get to meet him, I'm gonna have him sign something from Skinned Deep, because it just is a movie that I love. And even if it's not particularly a good movie by normal standards, like, I absolutely love that film. And like, I will try to convince anybody I can who likes horror films to watch it, because I think it's a fun time. So I finally got up to Warwick, and so he signed the Leprechaun page. The first item that was in front of him was this. He signed it and he wrote his character's name, Plates, on there. Yeah, I didn't get much of a reaction out of him. I thought for sure that, like, you know, I'd get something out of him with that Skinned Deep thing. It's, like I said, a custom 8x10. It basically made a collage of images of him from the movie, because the movie's in 4:3 ratio. Like, it's hard to get a good 8x10 out of it. So I basically had to use smaller images to make up a big one. And I don't know, I can't tell if he was just didn't give a crap, if he was just tired maybe, or if maybe I offended him by bringing him that. I don't know. Like, he just did not seem to give a fuck at all. He went to sign the book. He did ask when signing the book if it was something I'd done, and I was like, no, it's just an art book my friend wanted to get signed. But that was about my entire interaction with the guy. It kind of sucked. But yeah, it was just a very cold reaction, and that kind of just took the wind out of my sails in this. And then, you know, I almost didn't even film anything in the rest of the convention area, because I was just kind of feeling blah after that. But I wanted to have something to throw in this video besides just me talking. After that, I kind of went through the convention looking at various things, all different vendor booths and all that. I prefer vending at horror cons. This was a lot of what I don't care about at conventions, a lot of, you know, current action figures you can go to Target and buy, and pop vinyls that I want to burn, and yeah, not even like movie vendors or anything really. So not a whole lot to interest me. And after just kind of having a downer of an experience, I just decided to kind of head out sooner than later. So I think my plan now is to go get some lunch and then to go down to Universal, because why the hell not? I'm here. It's literally like right across I-4 from me, so why the hell not? I have to say, I talked a lot in these vlogs about recently getting an annual pass, and I know it's probably getting annoying, but I haven't had one since I was in like college. And I kind of forgot how cool it is to be able to go and not really have to worry about like timelines, and, you know, like if I don't get to do everything I want to do, I could always come back. So I went in, got some food at City Walk, and I was going to head into Islands of Adventure. Studios itself was closing early because it was one of the first nights of Halloween Horror Nights. But then I remembered, this year has the return of the Dead Coconut Club. Dead Coconut Club is in the upstairs section of City Walk. This is usually called the Red Coconut Club, but they've been theming it out a lot over the last couple years. And last year for Halloween, they had a Halloween overlay, and it has returned this year. And the really interesting part is that this is actually a continuation of a theme that was at, now I never remember the name of the store, but it's the horror store that's in Islands of Adventure. Over the summer, they had this kind of movie production theme going on with that store. It was like the various Universal monsters were getting together and filming their own kind of Ed Wood-esque horror movie, a really alien invasion movie. So like you go in, you'd see the Gill Man operating a camera, you'd see, I think Dracula was holding like a UFO on a string, the Wolfman was editing film, stuff like that. And the Dead Coconut Club is now the film's premiere. Outside, similar to last year, there's some banners of the Universal monsters. These actually have like 3D glasses on them, emphasizing the 3D movie that they're showing. And then they have an old-timey pickup truck outside being driven by a life-size Invisible Man, which is really just a set of clothes and a floating pair of 3D glasses. So as you go in, there are some larger-than-life busts of the Frankenstein monster and Dracula wearing 3D glasses because it's supposed to be for a 3D movie. And there's a photo op with some director's chairs and the Monstergram Pictures studio logo on there. And then as you go a little deeper in, there's a sign for the movie premiere of Revenge of the Red Planet in 3D. There's a old-timey camera on a crane and some various other film equipment going on. Once you get in through the lobby, there are some additional movie-making props. There's also kind of like makeup or seating areas for various Universal monsters. So you see a seating area for like the Creature from Black Lagoon, I believe Frankenstein's monster, the Bride, and the Mummy. It's kind of more cameras and film editing stuff all around. There is like a costume department. That is the one place where they mix the metaphors a little bit. There's some pieces where it is very much this is the movie premiere, but then there's other stuff where it still looks like they're making the movie. But there's like a costume department where you see like stuff's being sewed. I think there's a Jack the Clown costume in there, and there was another one that I couldn't quite recognize because I'm not so good with the Universal lore in terms of HHN stuff. There's some sort of tentacle monster coming out of a vat mixing some drinks. And the first downstairs bar has a lot of alien theming to it. So there's these really cool kind of retro looking colored square areas behind the bar. I don't know if that's normally there or not, but they put like ray guns and stuff in front of it and gave it a really cool look. In the main downstairs area, they have a lot of kind of stereotypical gray aliens around. There's a couple dispersed throughout. There's two like glass cases that have like almost spacesuits in them. And then there's one area up on a raised section that has a ton of different little aliens there. They also have some like cardboard Martian scenery cut out of wood with a lot of graffiti on the back. Some of it HHN or horror specific, and some of it even like Earl the Squirrel specific, which is another weird character Universal has, I think mostly for Christmas. I went to the bar in this main area. There wasn't a whole lot of theming on that one specifically. I got the pumpkin ale. It was decent. Also out on this floor area, there is a life-size Metaluna mutant. Once again, I think they're using a lot of leftover stuff from the Monsters Cafe that's been sadly taken away. There's also a DJ booth with tentacles coming out of it as well. And this also includes some more Earl the Squirrel references and probably some other things that I don't understand in terms of like lore. So we're to talk about lore with Universal Studios holiday events, but that's basically what I'm seeing here. And then last year I had not gone upstairs. I didn't know there was an upstairs. I think I knew there was an upstairs. I didn't see any theming from downstairs about it, but I decided to go up. The walls leading up the stairs were covered in photos and posters and art of Universal monsters. It was incredibly cool. Obviously, I'm just a sucker for that stuff, but I loved it. And then this upstairs area is actually themed to a drive-in. So it's supposed to be like, you know, they've finished the movie, the premiere's downstairs, and you go upstairs to actually go watch it. So they have like some movie posters and stuff up there as well. The bar upstairs is themed to a concession stand at a drive-through theater. I love it. It is the coolest looking thing. Both that and the first bar downstairs looked great. They also have another photo op with the Frankenstein's monster and the Bride in their premiere best, standing on either side of the old electric chair from the Monsters Cafe. There's some kind of like picnic tables outside to kind of sell the drive-in feel. There's some kind of fences and stuff with like Coca-Cola stuff on them. A life-size mummy near one of them, just giving that more outdoorsy mood. Also some cool retro-style dead coconut logos that match the like let's go to the lobby characters. And then there's actually some seats where they have mannequins of Dracula, the Wolfman, the Creature from the Black Lagoon watching the movie with their 3D glasses on. So they're in the back row with a projector, and then you could sit in the front row and do like a photo op with them. And then the projector looked like it was just showing kind of random clips from Universal horror movies, specifically that like 50s sci-fi era. So that was a really cool experience. I had a lot of fun going through, seeing all the theming. Universal always does well with their theming, but classic monsters are my sweet spot. So I really enjoyed it just on that alone. It was also nice because it is a little taste of Halloween Horror Nights without actually going into Halloween Horror Nights. That's coming soon for sure, but you know, I just wasn't going to do it this night because I try to avoid opening weekend because it's crazy. And speaking of, like I said, they closed down Universal Studios Park at 5. So getting into Islands of Adventure right about at 5, there was a massive line of everybody coming over from the other park, so it did take a while to get in. And then I just was able to kind of relax. With my pass, I get free express after 4 o'clock, so I could use express on almost everything there, everything I wanted to do at least. So I went on the Hulk, which was fun, except for the fact that the plug I had in my ear got ripped out halfway through. So that kind of sucked, because I'll have to remember to take them out next time. Went and did the Jurassic Park River Adventure. The thing just keeps degrading every time I go on it. And the rumor is they're going to close it down for 2 years maybe, and possibly retheme it to Jurassic World. So now I'm just like, well, now I got to go on it every time I go to the park because I want to at least, you know, see it as many times as I can until it's changed, if it is. I went on the Harry Potter coaster right around dusk, which was cool. And then the main thing I wanted to do was to go on Velocicoaster at night. And I have yet to go on that roller coaster yet and not felt like I was going to die. And doing it in the dark definitely added to that experience. So I didn't really get to go on a lot of things because the Harry Potter thing does not have express. At least I don't think it does. I hope it doesn't because that would have wasted a lot of time if it did. But that took almost 2 hours of waiting. But like I said, that's the plus of being able to go back whenever I kind of want. So I don't have to worry if I didn't get to cram in everything. And really, there's not a whole lot more at IOA that I really wanted to do. That was kind of a nice little set of items to complete for the night. And I think it was the right call because however I was feeling after the con, I was certainly feeling much happier after doing all that.